The silly moments, the proud moments, even the hard moments. They're why Wellmark Blue Cross and Blue Shield is committed to making healthcare better, more affordable, with more choices for care, and peace of mind through it all. Because Blue is here for you.
I could not be more excited to be on the road visiting manufacturers in Southwest Iowa. We are broadcasting from the Orbit Center in Osceola, Iowa. And I've got the pleasure to hang out with Nathan Grismore, who is the HR manager with Altec. And Nathan, I knew nothing about Altec until our briefing a couple of days ago. What does Altec do?
We are one of the proud manufacturers of utility vehicles for the entire country. We build utility vehicles for telecom, your electrical wires, your boom lifts, your trucks. We do digger derricks to dig holes for your light poles, and tree trimming, pretty much any utility type vehicles.
And that would explain why your truck bodies are made of fiberglass. You gave me an education on use of fiberglass truck bodies. Explain why that's so important.
Yeah, so the Osceola plant specifically builds the fiberglass bodies, and the reason why those are so important is because they're non-conductive, they're lighter weight, and they're typically more durable, so they're not going to rust. They're not going to have some of the same issues as some of the steel and the aluminum bodies can have.
And you said after a recent hurricane, they put your trucks on an ocean carrier?
Yeah, it's one of the most amazing pictures that you'll ever see. Our customers who service these places, they buy our vehicles, and then they can load them up on planes, they can put them on boats, they get them to where they need to go, and there can be thousands of them out in a field, and you can see the Altec name on the bucket,
so cool.
on the lifts. Yep.
There's got to be a lot of pride in that.
An enormous amount of pride, for sure.
And Nathan, your background is not in truck bodies, nor is it in fiberglass. Talk about how you ended up at Altec and what that journey looked like.
Yeah, so I originally started out of high school as a welder for another company up north, and I welded for about 4.5 years as a certified welder there. And then I moved back to this area, met my wife, settled down, kind of started my journey there, and then I worked at another manufacturer here in town welding, and I was able to travel the Midwest welding on their plows and helping them do basically service work in the field. Cool. It was a pretty neat thing. And then I finished my school, finished my college, and then I went up and I was a quality manager for a plastic injection molding company and their ISO manager for about 4.5 years, which gave me a lot of really in-depth and unique perspective on manufacturing because plastic injection molding is very different. Wanting to work closer to home, after COVID, I applied at Altec, finished my master's degree the very next year, and then was grateful enough to get the opportunity to be the HR manager.
John C. Maxwell, one of my favorite authors, talks about the different levels of leadership. And some of those are just by title only. That's the worst level of leadership you can have. What I love about your background is it gives you positional, but also, I've been there, I've done it. Your team has to really appreciate that you've been in the trenches, you've done that field work, you've been actually on the floor. Talk about how that's influenced your work and your relationships with your employees.
So I don't want to downplay the importance of being knowledgeable and intelligent in human resources. However, one of the things I think is unique about myself is that I am relatable. I understand, I can listen to understand rather than to respond. You can look up things that you don't know. You can find answers for things that you know, policies, benefits, or something like that. Not having that working experience is something that I think I've been told by our managers and our supervisors how much they appreciate that they can come in, speak the language, use the lingo, the acronyms, you name it, from tearing apart a welder to just understanding workflow, WIP, things like that. I think it's very helpful that we don't have to explain that, so I have a better understanding of that. We can just get to an answer or a solution to their problem.
And one of my favorite quotes comes to mind: they don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
I certainly do. You have to, and it has to matter to you. You spend more time with them a lot of times than your own family sometimes, depending on how that works out. And you're all trying to achieve the same goal. We're all trying to be very successful, safe, high quality, service our customers, and provide the best experience that we possibly can for our team.
We talked a little bit about the opportunity to provide real-time communication and how valuable that is. How do you provide that opportunity to your employees?
Yeah, so I think we do something very unique compared to a lot of different employers. We have 3 different systems. It's the same system, but 3 different links that we can click on. All of our associates, we have 392 folks who work for Altec and Osceola.
Wow.
All of them have access at any time. There's an HR help button that they can click on and ask their question, whether it's a benefits question or even if they have a complaint about something, or an hours question or a paycheck question, doesn't matter. There's also one for safety. Our safety action request. They can click on that button. If they see anything unsafe, we have a safety culture that it's stop, call timeout. We are going to get the right people around it. We're going to look at it, identify the problems. If it is an issue, we're going to pull it out of production, fix it, re-engineer it, get it back out there. So we track those monthly. We have monthly communication meetings, and we share how many of those were turned in each month, year to date, how many of those have been answered or like closed, and then where we're at on some of the bigger ones. There are some big ticket items every once in a while that pop up that take a little longer. So the floor associates have 100% control over letting us know when they see something unsafe to fix that. And then there's the third part of maybe the actual process. When it was designed, it fit on paper, right? But when they get it out there, it's like, ooh, those holes don't line up, or hey, ooh, this doesn't seem right. So they can definitely reach out to the engineering department, and then that design team in the engineering department will go down, sort of huddle up, review the problem, and then immediately go make the changes necessary so they can update the prints and update the process. So as we're moving, so we don't necessarily have to stop. We can fix the problem, address the problem, and move forward.
I love that. And if you're like me, if I had to wait, by the end of the shift, I wouldn't remember what the issue was. So having that available is amazing. Before you left the plant this morning, they were celebrating. What is the celebration that's going on at Altec and Osceola right now?
We've clipped 300,000 hours of safe work. So we are celebrating with lunch today with the local caterer for us, and that is just one of the most amazing things to be able to sit there and appreciate them back. They do such a great job of being safe, thinking about what we're doing, working at a good pace, but with high quality, high safety. And then it is very minimal for us to be able to celebrate these things and give back to them.
Awesome. The plant that Altec acquired was called Astoria. And when Astoria had the plant had gotten a little bit beaten down and it needed some improvement. Also, there were hiring practices that they lived by that you sort of had to overcome that reputation. Talk about what that looks like when a company that has very high standards yet is more open comes in. What does it take to rethink and rebrand in a community?
So I'll address the first question. We acquired Astoria in 2013, and I have seen pictures. I was not with Altec at that time. I had seen pictures of the Astoria building, and it is light years from what it was. The amount of improvement that we've done to the flooring, to the walls, to the lighting, to the ventilation, the ergonomics and the engineering that goes in behind everything that we do is very high, and it's very important, not just for Altec, but for the people who are doing the job. So that transition into Altec in 2013, and then in the community moving forward, I would say that there could have been, or there was, a bit of a sour taste for the employment at Altec. And then, new management has come in and really went back to the basics. What are our core values? What do we want to focus on? Family, people are our greatest strength, integrity, and let's start there. And let's be people. Let's treat people like people. Let's focus on people. People are the most important part of our business. I don't want to quote anything specifically, but I know our owners, they say all the time, our competitors can do exactly what we do. They can have the same equipment. They can copy anything that we're doing, but they can't hire the people that we have. Awesome. So, and it's one of the things that we really try to live by. And so branding in the community has, I wouldn't say been a challenge. It's been more of a refocus, a redirection, and this is what we're about. Give us an opportunity to prove that to you.
And where are your headquarters?
Our headquarters are in Birmingham, Alabama.
And how many plants do you have across the country or the world?
A
lot.
Yes, we are global. I do know. I believe we have one. We have some in China and Australia. I will get it wrong if I start throwing out countries.
Sure.
So I will say that we have about 15, roughly, I believe, manufacturing plants or final assemblies who are providing product for our customers, and then lots of service centers. We have an auction company and a bunch of different companies that make up Altec itself. So I don't know how many.
A lot.
Yes, there's a lot. We're everywhere.
Fiberglass and really effectively manipulating fiberglass is an art form. I asked you, how do you train your people in something that is not a common skill? So you bring in people that have never done this work before. What does that look like? How do you get them trained and really effectively doing their work?
So it can be a bit intimidating when you think about fiberglass. You think about stuff in your wall or your ceilings, and it's itchy and you don't want to touch it. It is true, we still don't want to touch our fiberglass. However, it is not the same type of fiberglass. It gets mixed with catalyst and resin. It gets ran through strands, long strands, and it gets chopped up and sprayed onto molds. And then our associates are incredibly talented. They can roll it out, get all the air out of it, get it to fit the mold exactly the way it's supposed to be. We really work hard at developing the process to where, I wouldn't say anyone can do it, but a majority of people who are focused, dedicated, and willing to learn, they can definitely do it. So I guess to wrap that all up into one thought is the idea of fiberglass. If you were to apply today, you'd be like, whoa, I don't know anything about it. You don't have to, because we're going to show you. You're going to take baby steps. Each step of the way, you're going to get a couple tasks. You're going to work on those tasks. But while you're doing that, you're watching what's going on around you, so you're able to absorb some of the process, some of what Bob's doing, Susie's doing, and then as time moves on, you're going to learn more and more about that process. You become more and more comfortable with it. We have the highest safety measures when it comes to PPE and making sure that our associates are safe. So once you kind of jump into seeing it and doing it, it's like, okay, this isn't anywhere near as bad as I thought it might be. And yeah, we couldn't be more proud of the people who are producing our trucks.
I would love for you to take the listeners on a tour of your plant. So they come in where the raw product comes in. Mm-hmm. Walk us through the production cycle. So
our plant's one large building split up, I'd call it into 3 quadrants, which would be 4, but three spaces. We have fiberglass on one side of the building. We have our manufacturing, our steel and aluminum on the other side of the building, and right in the middle is where our assembly lines are. So our fab, our manufacturing, our steel, that comes in one side, and then they are bending, welding, painting.
And these are the frames that go on the
frames,
truck bodies?
The top boxes, the drawers, you name it. If it's steel or aluminum, we're producing it on that side, on that end of the building. So all of that's going on simultaneously, while on the fiberglass side, they're building the doors, they're building the bodies, and that's moving through a process as well, being painted, getting the drip rail, getting all the seals put on it to meet in the middle so it can be mounted. That gets mounted onto the frame, so the fab and the fiberglass meet together, they mount them, then it goes down our assembly line, which is also on carts that has everything ready for them for each of our units. One thing that's very unique about Altec is that they're custom. So depending on what the customer's asking for, no one body can be the same. And I'm sure there are like some runs that some are the same, but for the most part, you might build the same customer two different ways. So it's very important that our prints and our processes are very sound and that we train to be able to identify those things.
Talk about efficiency and any progress or improvements that you've seen in efficiency since you've been there.
It really comes back to having an open door and listening to the people who are doing the work, because we can see it one way, like, hey, this is what we need, or hey, we have a goal, no problem. However, if it's not achievable, they are going to let us know, but they also let us know the best way to do so. So one of the things that I think for efficiency is that we don't produce a lot of overhead when it comes to if we need 50 floors, for an example. We're not going to just produce 50 floors and stick them over in a corner somewhere and wait for them. We build them as needed. And that allows us to be incredibly efficient with space, with time, with flow, and it doesn't have a lot of overhead when it comes to that WIP that's being left over. So
and WIP, for those that aren't in manufacturing, is?
Work in production.
Okay. Talk about the lead times and how the supply chain issues have impacted those lead times for you guys.
So, yeah, COVID certainly created a challenge for everybody, right? No doubt. But one of the things that we were very, I'd say, hyper focused on is understanding what we need, get our schedule really locked down, understanding what we're going to build for the next 30, 40, 60 days. And then what are our lead times for the products that we actually are purchasing outside of our facility, and then planning well. We have a great materials team and planning team. They do a fantastic job of making sure our team's fully stocked, ready to go, has everything that they need so we can get our customers the products they have purchased on time. That is something that we are very, very focused. There's not a lot of non-negotiables. That one is non-negotiable. Like we say we're going to do it, we need to do it.
Let's talk about the innovation within the organization. You've got another division that houses your auction services and how important that was during COVID.
Yeah, so I wasn't employed with Altec during COVID. However, I do know that one of Altec's strategic plans for the company is once the life is up with whatever company we're selling it to, we can buy them back. We'll do all the maintenance necessary, and then we can have rental fleets.
Wow.
Or we can auction them off. I mean, it really just depends on supply and demand's pretty big, right? If we don't have any, if they're all in the field, not a lot of supply, demand becomes higher, and maybe rental is the right way. If we get a lot of supply, maybe auctions are the right way. I'm not incredibly versed in the auction business. However, I do know during COVID, when we were struggling to get material, struggling to be able to produce anything, having those available for our customers, for anyone who needed them really, was I don't know if you could put a word to say how important that was for our business.
Talk about lead times for your products. How far out are we going?
It fluctuates, but we do have a backlog that can go years, depending on.
Seriously?
Yeah, depending on what they are. And our customers are very dedicated to us because of our customer service and our quality of our product and how we stand behind it. If anything ever happens, which is rare, but if anything ever happens out in the field, we immediately go to them, go to the customer, fix the issue, address the problem, stand behind our product. And so they choose to purchase from us, even if it is going to take a couple years to get there.
Since Altec acquired the Astoria plant, you've grown from 200 to 342 employees. Where have you seen that growth, and what does that look like in the future?
So going back to a previous comment that we were talking about with the addressing the community and trying to kind of rebrand, reshape what Altec is here in Osceola, that has really allowed us to grow as fast as we possibly want to. The demand continues to rise, which took very strategic focus internally to how are we going to get there. You can throw people at a problem, but it doesn't fix the problem if the process is not sound, not good. So one of the primary focuses for us is developing talent, understanding, hey, where are we going to be in 6 months, 18 months, 2 years, 3 years? Who do we need? Do we have those folks? Do we need to look externally? Can we develop within? We are real big on developing from within because it's part of our core values. We want to retain the best talent, retain the people that we currently have. So we work really hard at identifying those folks and then teaching them, developing the skills that they need to be able to sustain that, which allows us to be able to hire more folks, be able to produce more. We've included a second shift that we didn't have a few years ago, and now we have a fully functioning third shift in all 3 departments that we didn't have a few years ago. So, and with the acquiring the Salford building, which we call our North building, has allowed for us to expeditiously expand the manufacturing. We do a lot of steel, a lot of the lasers and press brakes and welding. We have a large paint booth and a blast booth up there, so we are able to really produce more than we ever were before, which allows us to hire more people, which allows us to continue to grow.
You were supposed to bring a gentleman named Derek with you today, and I want you to talk about the career path. You haven't been with Altec as long as a lot of the others in the company. I want you to talk about Derek's journey.
Yeah, so Derek started as a...
And what's Derek's last name?
Derek Kelso.
Okay.
He's currently our recruiter. He works in the HR department, but his journey started 8 or 9 years ago as a production worker out on the production floor. And I believe he started in the fab department working on the lasers. And he learned that role. I think there was a need in the fiberglass department. So we talked a little bit about that earlier, where it could be intimidating if you've never seen it. But he went back to the fiberglass department, learned that side of the business, was rocking and rolling through that. There was a need in our materials buying team. He put in for that, was able to get that role. So then he moved into the office. So he was on the fab side, the fiberglass side, and then the purchasing side. And he was able to really learn more and more of the business. Derek is a very charismatic, outgoing, loving person. And I remember when I posted for the recruiter role, you don't ever sit there and predetermine who's ever going to get the job, right? However, you're hopeful that some people put in for the role, and he was definitely one of them. And because
did you encourage him at all, or did he do it naturally?
He did ask me about it.
Okay.
We sat down and talked about it. However, he's done an amazing job. He got the job. He's done fantastic, and I'm telling you that there is no better person to represent Altec as a face with our schools, with Iowa State, with our high schools, Clark, Decatur, no one better. And I couldn't be more proud of where he is and what his journey is. But that's what Altec's all about. Come in, get your feet wet, learn the business, and it's really up to you how far you want to go. And another thing that a lot of people take advantage of is that after 6 months of employment, we will pay for your 4 years of school and 7 different disciplines. Oh my gosh. And a lot of folks take advantage of that. Derek is one of those folks finishing his 4-year degree to allow him further opportunity in the future. And that is something that I think a lot of employers probably in this area probably do not do. They go online, 100% online through the University of Alabama, Birmingham. And it allows us to, it helps us see who's dedicated, who's wanting that more, but it also allows us to provide more for these folks as well.
When an outside organization, especially outside of the state of Iowa, comes in and acquires an Iowa company, I always get a little nervous. Sure. Because you never know the type of community partner that company is going to be. You don't know how they're going to treat the employees, and sometimes we can be resistant to that. what I am hearing is Altec is an amazing community partner. They treat their employees incredibly well. And you just gave an example of one of corporate's bigwigs is in town to celebrate your safety today.
Yep.
And talk about your experience with him.
With
the gentleman that's here.
With Joe?
Yeah.
I've gotten an opportunity to meet Joe a few times. He's here. He was down in St. Joe yesterday, kind of making a pass through, but it's amazing to have the people who run our business drop in, know your name, be able to identify what we're doing, what we have going on. It doesn't ever feel, sometimes that can feel like, oh, you got a title, you're up here. It doesn't ever feel that way with anyone that we interact with, because our core values are treating people like people, family. That's how we live. So we couldn't be more happy to have any of those folks at any given time come visit us, and we visit as well, and we get showed the same love as we show when folks come visit us.
And Altec is a family-owned company, correct? They
are. It's been in the same family for, I believe, 3 generations, going on the 4th generation, and it started in 1929, I believe.
My gosh.
It started in, I believe, I want to say Joplin or somewhere in the Missouri area. And I think he was building milk trucks. And then obviously milk trucks, not a sustainable market over time. And I believe he ended up moving to Birmingham. And then that's kind of where Altec spread its wings. But our biggest manufacturing plant is in St. Joe, Missouri.
And the name stands for?
Alabama Equipment Trucking Company.
Got it. And you've seen a ton of success just in the time that you've been with Altec. Look in the future, 5 years, what excites you most on the horizon?
I think it's because you share the wins, you share the losses. Anytime you win or lose. I think what's most exciting about the future is where we're just the unknown. It's right. Because we know we have the right team in place, we have the right people in place. We're always trying to hire the right people, that it allows me to be very optimistic and very positive for where we're heading. I think in just a short 3 years, the way we've doubled in size, 5 years would be potentially, I would not guess.
You don't have a crystal ball.
I would not guess that we would double again to around that 800 number. But however, I could definitely see 500, 550 for sure. And
let's talk about your labor shed here in Clark County. It is a little rural around here. Mm-hmm. How many counties are you recruiting from, and how are you getting them to even give you a shot?
So it's the surrounding 8 counties that we typically really focus on, but we do have folks that have come as far from Corning, which is about an hour and 20-minute drive, and northern Missouri. They drive over an hour to come work for us as well. One of our main sells is not just a very competitive wage. Everyone works for money for the most part. However, it's our benefits. Our benefits are, I would argue, as good as they can possibly be in a 100-mile radius of where we're at. We are very focused on you, and we share this in orientation. It's one of the things when we talk about where people are your greatest strength and why we give away so many benefits and why we're so focused on the health of our people. It's because, one, we want you happy. If you're happy, you're healthy, you feel good,
and you're more productive.
You come to work, it's safe, you know what your job is, you know how to do your job, you're more productive, you're typically more safe, you have just better attitude, better feeling about it in general. You get to go home with all your fingers and toes and you feel good. You get to spend time with your family, and it really makes sense. It's one of those sort of head scratchers when you hear about maybe some other companies that don't put so much focus in that, and it's you want them to want to come back, and you have to give them an environment that's worth coming back to. So that is primarily our focus for when we recruit. It's let us show you. We bring you down, we'll give you a tour, show you around, show you what we do, how we do things, how friendly everyone is. And it's not set up. There's 300 people and they're working, right? So people are saying good morning and they're smiling and they're doing their job and they're enjoying it. It's one of those things that you can't fake. And it's a very proud moment, not just for myself, but the entire management team in Altec, for sure.
We are sitting here in this gorgeous Orbit Center, which is a public-private partnership with Clark County Development Corporation and business and industry. I was talking to Sean earlier about sort of the hope. We opened right in August, so we haven't fully developed the capacity of this gorgeous facility. What hopes and dreams do you have in using the Orbit Center as you recruit and train?
So this has been a high priority topic between the management team for a long time. And I know we've attended a couple trainings that have been held out here so far. We sent several people for those things. It's really understanding what we can do and how we won't interfere with what's currently going on, and then like that space availability, setting it up, getting it right. We don't run and then go back and try to fix it, right? So we really do try to think through and plan through what we're trying to do. So I know, speaking with Andrew and others, that we really want to be out here and find different ways to utilize this, and it's always being talked about. So
awesome.
Right now we haven't been out here to utilize it, but it doesn't mean we won't, because I do know for sure that it's high priority for us.
Build it and they will come.
Yeah.
Field of Dreams.
Field of Dreams. I know. Yeah.
Is this heaven?
It's the Orbit Center.
It's Osceola. It's the Orbit Center. I love it. Nathan, it has been an absolute pleasure. You've got a standing invitation. Anytime you've got things going on at Altec, please call me up and we'll get you back in. And good luck with your growth and the continued success that Altec's had here in Osceola.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you for tuning in to Made in Iowa. Subscribe, like, and share wherever you listen. Catch episodes weekly from the Iowa Everywhere studio on the BPC streaming network.